In this video, I'm going to explain a feature that I added to the rgraph website that allows you to easily copy the text from an example block of code to your clipboard by way of a small copy button in the top right corner of each such example. Okay, and if we just click through to the example, what you can see now is an example page that shows the copy to clipboard technique in action. In this example, we have a code block showing some example source code, and to make a horizontal scroll bar appear, there is a long comment at the very top of the code. Now, if we use the scroll bar to scroll right, like so, you can see that the copy button in the top right corner doesn't move. It stays where it is. This is done by adding some HTML, and we'll go through that in a second. To show this example working, we can copy the title manually and paste that into the text area like so. So let's highlight the title, copy that with Ctrl+C, and then paste that into the text area, Ctrl+V. Wonderful, we've got the title on our clipboard. So if we delete that little bit of text there and come back up to the pre-tag, okay, and this time we're going to use the copy button. So if we click on that, it changes to copied for a few seconds and then changes back. And if you come back down to the text area and paste in the contents with Ctrl+V, you get the contents of the pre-tag that were copied onto the clipboard. Okay, so now let's get rid of that little bit of text. Now if we view the source of the page, we can go through that. So let's see, press Ctrl+U to view the source. Wonderful. Let's ignore that big comment at the top and come down to the CSS code. The first thing that we have in the source code are some CSS definitions that set the background color and the positioning of the pre-tag. The pre-tag is what will contain our code and is wrapped in a div tag which has the class code block. First, in this CSS, we give the body some style to change the default font family and size. The div.codeBlock styles are defined, and there are only 3 of them. And then there are the styles to give the pre-tag some padding and a horizontal scroll bar should one be necessary. Okay, let's scroll down to the main copy to clipboard function. There it is, so that you can see it. Wonderful. This function is given 2 arguments: the text that is to be copied to the clipboard and a span tag. The span tag is what you click on to actually do the copying and is given to the copy to clipboard function so that it can be changed to copied, for example, for a few seconds, just to give some visual feedback to the user that the text has actually been copied to their clipboard. If we look at the copy to clipboard function, the first thing that is done is that the label is removed from the text that we have been passed, because we don't want to copy that to the clipboard as well as the main text. Then the clipboard API is used, which uses promises and copies the text from the pre-tag onto the clipboard. If this is successful, it then calls the show notification function, passing it the span tag, and if there's an error, an alert is shown to the user. Now we move on to the show notification function. So let's scroll down so that you can see that. Oh, a bit too far. Up a bit. Lovely. This function takes the span tag as the sole argument, and what it does is create another span tag, configures it by adding some CSS styles to it, and then appends it as a child of the original span tag that was passed in as an argument. The new span tag that we just created is set to entirely cover the original span tag that contains the word copy. The new tag contains the word copied, so that when it's created, you see the original word copy replaced with the word copied. It then fades out and is removed after a few seconds. Okay, let's just scroll down and there you can see the set timeout function. And if we scroll down a bit more, here we go. We've got the main add event listener function that installs all the code. The add event listener function adds a function to the DOM content loaded event. Essentially, this is the endpoint of the code. The first thing that this function does is get a collection of all of the pre-tags on the page by using the document.getElementsByTagName function. It then loops through the resulting collection. If there is a custom data-copy attribute on this pre-tag and it's set to false, then this pre-tag is ignored. This gives you an easy way to prevent a tag from having a copy button added to it, should you wish to do so. A new div tag is created and the pre-tag is then wrapped in that div by using the wrap element function, which is defined below. The div tag is given the class codeBlock, which means that it inherits the styles that we set earlier in our CSS, and a few extra styles are then set to give it a background color and make it stand out on the page. A new span tag is then created. This is the copy button that people will click on. This span tag has various styles set on it and is positioned absolutely in the top right hand corner. The span tag is then appended to the div tag wrapper, not the pre-tag, so that when the pre-tag is scrolled left or right, the span tag and the copy link that it holds will stay in the top right hand corner. Okay, let's just scroll down a little bit more. There we go. Finally, a click event is added so that when you click the copy button, it calls the copy to clipboard function that we talked about earlier. The function is past the text minus the copy label and the span tag DOM node. Okay, let's just scroll down so that you can see the last bit of JavaScript code. There we go. The last small function is the wrap element function that is used to wrap one DOM element with another. In our case, this function is used to wrap pre-tags with the div tags that have been created here. Okay, so that's the wrap element function. Let's just scroll down so you can see the last bit of HTML code on the page. There we go. And finally, here's the small bit of HTML code that makes up the whole page. We have the heading, some text, and then the pre-tag that's the subject of this whole endeavor. Note that the pre-tag has the class of code specified up above in the DOM content load function as the main loop through all of the pre-tag starts, as well as checking for a data-copy attribute. It checks too for a code CSS class, and if this is not present, a copy link is not added. This makes it easy for you to exclude a particular pre-tag from having a copy link added. And that's all there is to adding a copy to clipboard button to your code samples. Thanks for listening, and if you have any questions, then feel free to post me a message in the rgraph support forum. See you in the next video.